Good morning, everybody. It is December 18th, 2025. Where in the heck did this year go to? And this episode of Ask Dr. Andy, number three, episode on STDs, is brought to you by our fine friends at Ramble Office Anywhere. The freedom to travel anywhere and work everywhere with Ramble. The Ramble Travel Trunk is a complete mobile office solution designed for today's remote workforce, whether you're working from home, a co-working space, or an Airbnb. The destination gives you the freedom to stay productive wherever life takes you without compromise. And when you're checking out, put in the promo code Buffalo or any Buffalo, and you will get an additional 5% off. So how you doing, Doc? Haven't seen you in a bit.
Real well. The Ramble office that you're talking about is a very attractive thing to me because I travel to take care of underserved populations. And once I'm out of the office, I'm in a hotel room and I'm totally disconnected. It's very difficult for me to stay connected with learning, charting, all the things that go into providing good care.
I just like it because it has everything there. Because it seems like however prepared you are when you're going, trying to get work done someplace else, you always forget something. And with us, with all the technology that we are using for the show and for the insurance company, it gets a little bit hairy at times. But I just want to let everybody know that all the comments and statements by Eddie Buffalo and Dr. Andy are purely for entertainment purposes. So where were you this week?
I was working with a Native American population in Oklahoma, and it was very, very interesting and rewarding.
What part of Oklahoma are you in?
I'm in I would guess it would be the southeastern portion of Oklahoma.
It's the only place I've been so far is Hugo, right over by like Paris and that. Because I had to go see the red cowboy hat on the little Eiffel Tower in Paris, which I thought was ridiculous, but whatever. So STDs.
The reason I wanted to talk about them is it's something that people don't like to talk about, and it's a growing problem. The big three we think of, syphilis, gonorrhea, and chlamydia, we know about, and they're all growing. We don't think about HIV anymore. It's like it's dropped off the map. With treatment, people have kind of normalized it, and they're not thinking when they're having relations. They're not using the precautions that the prior communities that were affected, the gay community really worked hard to get people both in their community and the heterosexual community to use barrier protection, to think about it. And now that there's medicine out there, people have kind of lost those good habits.
That's very interesting. Even my mother-in-law does a lot with ANAC. It's the Organization for AIDS Network. And I learned a lot about it, because a lot of times with something like that, and you're ignorant, not knowing anything about it, it's very interesting that it's not something that's going to kill you right away now, that there's actually something they can do to extend the lives.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's gone away. It doesn't mean that the burden of disease for the individual is gone. Things to think about that are not commonly used as much as they could be. There's two things. One is called PEP. The other is called PrEP. One is post-exposure. The use was made for medical personnel, police personnel, where they had a blood exposure that the person was either HIV positive or unknown and suspected to be. And there was a protocol you could follow with medications and pretty fair effectiveness. The big one, and we've seen commercials for it, is PrEP. People who know they're going to be putting themselves in a position of risk, if they see their physician, stay within a protocol, can take a medication on a regular basis that greatly cuts down the risk of contracting HIV, even if they're doing things that are outside of the recommendations with barriers.
Now, I understand that there's nothing as 100% safe sex. But as a physician, what do you feel is the best way to stop infection, stop STDs, besides abstinence? What is the best protection that you can use right now?
Use your brains, let your brains lead instead of other brains, quote unquote. If you're going to enter into a long-term relationship, be monogamous, get tested, wait for test results, and then stay monogamous. I know that's easy to say, and that goes against a lot of what people do. People are people, behavior is behavior, but that's one of the safest ways to go at it. The other safe way to go at it is to use barrier contraception if you choose to go into an unknown status relationship until you know what the person's status is. People who choose to perhaps not use barrier contraception and you know that you're stepping into dangerous waters, see your physician, get on the protocol with PrEP, the anti-HIV.
Yeah, this is all new to me. I never even heard of that before, And, I remember in high school, they would scare the hell out of you saying that you slept with everybody that person slept with.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That's not innuendo. That's correct. And if you draw the tree out pretty fast, it's really scary. And personally, if I was of the age where I was going out dating and having relationships spontaneously like that, I would definitely have to keep my antenna up as far, bad choice of words, keep my antenna up as far as using barrier contraception, really looking at the situation and choosing a little more wisely.
Now, I've dated quite a bit since my divorce, and I have to tell you this one story that it kind of freaked me out because I met a nice young lady. She's very pleasant. We were going to meet for our first date. And she goes, before we meet, I do have to tell you something. And she said she contracted AIDS 11 years ago, but she's coming up negative. So I really shouldn't worry. And the crazy Polish Irish fellow that I am, I said, I'm sorry, I just can't get past that. Was I wrong doing that? Was I being ignorant of anything? Tell me about that.
It depends what your expectations and your willingness to work with the relationship is. And people they call it serodiscordant. First of all, I don't think she contracted AIDS. She had HIV. AIDS means she got a disease that's typical for immune system severe dysfunction post-HIV exposure. But I'm just babbling about terms.
Well, what if she mean?
If you're serodiscordant, I'm sorry to talk over you.
That's okay.
You can have a relationship. You can have relations. People can be put on PrEP. They can use barrier contraception for the higher risk relations. You can have all of the platonic ends. You can hug, you can kiss, you can cuddle, you can touch without really significant greater worry than you would with somebody else. However, for relationships that are of high risk, barrier, PrEP, and make sure that she does her HIV maintenance and has regular titers and is on whatever her physician recommends for her current status.
That's very interesting because she was telling me that she comes up negative every year she goes to the doctor.
I would be very interested to see reality versus what's being related. I'm always one of those people where I believe things when I see them.
Yeah.
When I see the hard copy, I'll buy it.
Now, one thing that scares me, because I don't know enough about it, is HPV. Explain to me what HPV is, how you contract it, and what are the pitfalls.
Okay, human papillomavirus is a virus that commonly causes genital warts. It is strongly implicated in being the progenitor or one of the major progenitors of cervical cancer. And from a female standpoint, it's of greater consequence than for a male standpoint. Men very rarely are going to get any sort of genital related cancer from it. Men have gotten oral pharyngeal.
That's what I was wondering about.
Yes, that's there. The numbers are lower, but it does exist. One thing we're running into problems, and I don't want to get on a little step stool in the way of my arm. I'm getting parents when I see children who want to pass on vaccinating their child, male or female, because they can vaccinate both genders and it's recommended. Because once you vaccinate for HPV and the person has completed the protocol, that is out of the ball game.
What age do you start getting this for the kids?
Okay.
And is it for boys and girls?
Yes.
Okay.
You start preteen and early teen, and you'll complete. The object is to typically complete it before people are sexually active. If they're seronegative, you can complete it after they're sexually active. And again, if you get herd immunity, you can take that out of the ballgame. I know cervical cancer is not of great importance to men, but you can, by having your children vaccinated, cut that way, way, way down.
Well, I always thought it was interesting that I've read different articles that masturbation in men helps prevent prostate cancer. Is that a myth, or what's up with that?
It's not evidence-based. They do not have concrete evidence for that.
So you mean I got to stop then?
We'll not shake hands. We'll just wait.
Just a fist bump. So I mean,
moving forward,
I think the big thing is that so many people don't know and are afraid to ask.
That's
You know what I mean?
One of the biggest problem in STDs, because we still are able to treat gonorrhea, chlamydia, and syphilis, though gonorrhea is now approaching almost.
It's coming back strong.
Oh, no, not so much coming back. It's become almost resistant to all antibiotics.
Really? So what if somebody gets it? How do they treat it now? Not penicillin?
Well, there's a specific treatment. It's, an injection of ceftriaxone that's cousin to a penicillin family. It's a cephalosporin family. But the problem is ceftriaxone is right now the only drug that's been demonstrated to be effective. And there are some resistant strains out there, fortunately not in the general community. The big problem with STDs is getting men to get treated, because it's somewhat more symptomatic in women. They'll typically get treated, but tracking down the male contacts and getting them to have treatment, complete treatment, and hold on going out and spreading the disease.
So I don't mean to sound stupid here, but I really don't know these answers. So I'm going to ask you. So I get gonorrhea. What are my symptoms?
Some that are almost asymptomatic. Some people have some burning with urination, or they'll notice towards the end of their urination, there'll be like threads of pus, or they'll have like cloudy at the end. But the problem is some men don't have a lot of symptoms. Women, unfortunately, get pelvic inflammatory disease, which can kill you. It's almost like having the equivalent of a ruptured appendix. You've got pus in a place where you're not supposed to have pus in your abdomen and pelvis. Or they'll get scarred, they'll get scarred tubes, and then they'll have an increased number of ectopic pregnancies, which are medical emergencies again.
Is there any odor to the discharge?
For men,
yeah,
not typically.
So you wouldn't even know it.
You're going to, if you get gonorrhea, most men are going to get some discomfort urinating, and it will peak, and then usually it'll kind of tail off over time. So they'll, depending on the person, they'll ignore it and go on with their lives. Chlamydia, they get even less discomfort. And again, chlamydia can cause pelvic inflammatory disease, and it can cause, people to have more ectopic pregnancies.
That is interesting.
And the big problem is the men just don't get treated, or they get partially treated, or they get treated. Don't wait to make sure that they are clear and then go back out and they're sort of like Johnny Appleseed.
Like as a man, um, what is more dangerous, receiving oral sex or having sex? Or is it pretty much the same
For
disease?
I would think that, intercourse itself is probably marginally more dangerous. The most dangerous thing is people who have receptive anal intercourse. I think the generic term is they're the catchers in the baseball.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Being a catcher is probably the most high risk thing for acquiring HIV.
I am so much of a clean Pollock. There ain't no chance I'm ever doing that stuff. I'll tell you that right now. Plain and simple. Gross. That's my opinion. If you like it, knock yourself out.
Things that I would think about is, a lot of times relationships are quick. A lot of times if an STD surfaces, the relationship is over. People just have to think a little further than that. And if somebody is tested, act on it. Share the test with the partner. Have the partner get treated. Have the partner stop having relations until they do get treated.
Well, let's say the gentleman has a larger member than normal, okay? And a few times that he was with different partners, he ended up ripping them. Is that something you should get tested for right away for infection, or is that just because you're sharing blood and semen and all kinds of stuff down there? I'm just kind of curious what your feelings are on that.
It's not something I've really sat down and seen literature on, and I'm an evidence-based guy, but common sense says that if you're actually seeing gross blood, you are at a higher risk of infection being transmitted.
Now, here's my question. It just popped into my head. So you're a guy, you're having oral sex with your partner, and obviously you are ingesting fluids, How do they survive if your stomach acid's going to eat that up?
Things like chlamydia and gonorrhea being contracted orally. If you think about it, your mouth, your gums, your teeth, that whole thing is not one solid, distinct, complete membrane.
Big bowl of bacteria.
No, we all have cracks in our gums. We all have areas where there are actually open tissue. Your mouth, you brush your teeth, you braid your gums. People bite their tongue, people bite the inside of their mouth. It's not a one contiguous membrane. There's about 1 million different places where you can have something enter your bloodstream.
So if you're swallowing it, that don't mean nothing. You can still get sick.
Yes, you can contract STDs via oral sex. Oral gonorrhea is very, very prominent. When people get it, they know that something is not right.
Now, when you contract oral gonorrhea, what are the symptoms?
You're going to have typically, I'll call it the world's worst sore throat.
Oh.
You're going to have a really good sore throat most of the time. But again, I'm speaking for the generalized population. There's a tail end some curve where a person doesn't know it. There's the other tail where they get very sick and are bacteremic in a hospital. So, but typically if you get oral gonorrhea, you're going to have some burning sensation, some sore throat over the next couple of days.
And how do they treat that? Antibiotics, or you get like chloroseptic?
Antibiotics. Same treatment as genitourinary gonorrhea.
So another question I have is that some women that are still bleeding, monthly, and I'm not the kind of guy that likes that kind of stuff, but there are people that believe that that's the safest way of not getting pregnant. Is that true, or is that a myth too?
It would be much less likely for somebody to get pregnant while they're having their menstrual cycle. It would be very, very, very unlikely.
Even if the guy had like super sperm like me.
I don't know of anything evidence-based, and moving forward,
When those little capes I saw him that don't mean nothing.
Is that coffee?
It is coffee, yes.
You're
Yes,
sure?
I'm
You're sure
positive.
that's coffee?
100%. I made you some, you didn't want it. You're drinking those awful things. Shame on you.
Has somebody been putting coffee in your coffee?
I know, just me. Some self-medicated.
Okay.
So I think that is very interesting, and I'm glad that we can open this up. And please, in the comments, we were probably going to revisit this again. You know,
all joking and teasing aside, it is important to get treated, because the person who is not conscientious and doesn't get treated can impact so many other lives. If you think about that thing they showed you in health, where they do that little tree where when they say you sleep with somebody, you slept
Yes.
with everybody they slept with. It's not innuendo, it's real.
How so? I mean, how long does sperm stay in somebody?
It doesn't work that way. They're saying that if you sleep with somebody, have sex with somebody, and they've had sex with a whole lot of people, and that will increase the number of your chances of exposure to HIV. That will increase your likelihood. It's more likelihood, not that they're retaining something. It's just when somebody is with a lot of different people, their chances of exposure go up, because in theory, they're having relations with everybody that person's had relations with from an HIV standpoint.
My question is, like, genital warts, how are those contracted? Where do they come from?
Okay,
what can you do for them?
They are a virus. They're contracted from somebody else with genital warts. Not all genital warts are visible. Some are very small. Some are located places you can't see. You know, it's not like you can see all of your external genitalia or all of somebody's internal genitalia. So if it's there, it's there. It's a virus. You contract it. Typically, they are chemically cauterized. They'll use a couple different products. Typically, the advice is to use barrier contraception after that, and especially if you're erupted, to avoid intercourse.
Interesting. That's very interesting.
And the genital warts, some of them are caused by the human papilloma virus. Some are caused by other viral wart syndromes. And again, it's not something you want to go out and share. And we haven't even got to herpes yet.
Oh.
The gift that keeps giving.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the stage herpes. Go ahead, Doc.
How would you like me to approach it?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's a virus. It's related to the cold sore virus. Think of it as in a different pew in church, but the same big church as the viruses that can cause chickenpox and all that. They're all like in one big family.
So if you had chickenpox as a child, does it mean you're going to contract something down the road?
It does not. It doesn't mean, it has no real relationship to genital herpes. Genital herpes is HSV2, and it has treatment. The key with that is to use barrier contraception. If you're flared up, either avoid intercourse. You can take medications that cut down the number of the viral population while you're flared up. Some people, if they have frequent flare-ups, are placed on medication maintenance.
Now, all these different things that we're talking about, does it decrease the pleasure in the sexual activity when you have these different things?
Not really, unless obviously if you have a big open sore rash, it's going to hurt, or if you have, an abscess or something, it's going to hurt. But I don't really think it relates to what people feel so much as what happens to them afterwards in terms of mortality and morbidity.
I get it. Well, Doc, we covered an awful lot today, and I want to thank you for being here.
Oh, my pleasure.
And please, if you have any comments or questions, make sure you get them to us, and we'll make sure the doc can answer as many of them as he can. Because I'm not going to answer the questions. I don't know nothing about this stuff. You know, I'm just glad I don't have any of this stuff that he's talking about. I thank Jesus.
And again, what I'm saying is not medical advice. It's just informational. I try to keep it to what is evidence-based out there and what I've seen experientially. I always urge people, see your own doctor, do your own education, and with STDs, be open, honest with the other partner.
I think that's a big thing, communicating with somebody that you do have some kind of problem. Because I mean, I don't even know if you can sue somebody legally if they knew they had it and then they give it to you.
There have been suits. I know of one baseball player who allegedly was herpes positive and was less than forthright with multiple partners. And I understand that they were sued for pretty big financial gain.
Well, thank you again, Doc. Once again, Ask Dr. Andy, episode number 3, STDs. We're going to switch things up a little bit next week. His show is going to be on Tuesday because next Thursday is already Christmas, Doc. Can you believe that?
Yes.
So
I haven't.
tune in next Tuesday, the 23rd of December, and it should be another exciting show. Thank you very much, Doc, for being here.
My pleasure.
And remember, we are going to end the show like we had every other show. If you like working with people that are just like
Can I
you,
wash my hands?
yeah, you should. Yeah, you don't know where these have been. So if you have the same values as we do, and the same passion for life and love your children as much as we do, we are the people you definitely want to be working with. You can go to ebiagency.com. You can message us on there. You can also email us at eddiebuffaloinsurance@gmail.com, and the hotline is 716-541-4118. And remember, life is definitely worth living. What do you got to do, Doc?
Cue me again.
You got to keep on fighting.
Okay.
We'll see everybody next week. Take care. Hey, button. Who's got the button?